Hello, dear viewers. My name is Emmett.
I'm Evan.
We are the same person.
Pretty much.
And about 2 months ago, we put out a video called The Walls Between Chicago's Transit Agencies.
It's about the three amigos, CTA, Metra, and Pace.
And at the time, Chicago's relief funds from COVID were running out, and essentially there was no clear path forward for how transit was going to be funded in 2026 and beyond.
It looked like everything was going to run off of a metaphorical cliff. The CTA posted that one doomsday map where the only thing running was like the north side red line, the blue line to O'Hare. Oh, no, and the Dan Ryan. And then I think the brown line was a shuttle from Belmont.
Oh, yeah. No, it was...
I think that was it.
I do remember that. We'll put that up so you can watch.
In post.
Yeah, of course. I will edit this a little bit. But basically, Chicago and Illinois politicians generally knew about this problem for years. They knew that the federal funding was going to run out, and yet they really were dragging their heels. And as we talked about in the last video, they tried to make a really big bill happen, and it just didn't happen.
This was back in May, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a while. And instead, they had one final special session to figure out how to fund transit. And remarkably, they did it!
Yay! Thank you, Illinois legislature, for meeting the bare minimum.
Yes. And so, shout out Streetsblog Chicago, by the way, in particular, an article by Austin Busch called Everything in the New Transit Bill on Pritzker's Desk. And my computer just turned off. We're just going to kind of read through this and talk about what is in the new bill.
This is our podcast.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the House of Transit.
Hello.
Hello from the House of Transit Ghosts. If you want to hear a channel update, skip ahead using the timestamps.
It might be in double digits.
Almost certainly it will be.
To get things started, the big thing was revenue. You know, how are you supposed to run a transit agency if you're broke as fuck? And the answer is Detroit. That's what that is. But Chicago won't be like Detroit anymore. We're going to be like... I was going to say Europe, but no, it's making this seem like bigger than it is.
No, they're going to be like slightly better Chicago.
Ah, damn.
But where is this money coming from? Well, taxes on gasoline.
Yay!
We love taxing drivers. They deserve to pay.
I think this was like a contentious one at the start as well, if I remember correctly. Like it wasn't in like the original revenue package. Like before any of these taxes got passed, there was like all kinds of like weird ones on like special events. There was not an Uber tax, sorry.
Food delivery.
Food delivery tax. And like, well, none of those are like maybe bad on their own. They just seem like really like unprofessional to put in words, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like any of these like small funding sources was really going to be able to solve the entire problem.
Yeah. So what we did get, I think, is pretty good. So we have the fuels tax. The RTA has an option to increase their existing sales tax by, I think, like 0.5%.
Yeah, 0.25 it looks like.
0.25%. So that's not great because, you know, Chicago already has some pretty high taxes at like 10%. But, you know, I'm willing to pay like a quarter more to help transit, so I think it's worth it.
Yeah, this is fair. There's also the Illinois Tollway and the Road Fund. So they're able to raise their passenger tolls on existing roadways by up to 45 cents, and that's expected to raise billions. And largely, at least for the tollway taxes, that can only go towards the tollway. But in long-range planning, a lot of the freeways still are proposed to have express bus service, so that could probably be incorporated into that.
I still find it really odd that like the tollway is only out in the burbs, and like all the radial freeways, like the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Ike. Sorry, that's 2 in a row right there. And the Dan Ryan, and the Stevenson as well. No tolls whatsoever.
And Lakeshore Drive. Yeah, no, it's very weird, and definitely at some point, we're not really going to get congestion pricing in Chicago, most likely, but it would be good to at least toll the heck out of the freeways, because that's how people are getting downtown in the first place.
I think we should toll everyone. Everyone gets a toll.
That would seem fair.
Your grandma's going to get a toll. Sorry, Grandma.
She deserves it. Let's see. So that's going to raise, I don't know, a couple billion. Most of that obviously is going to go to Chicago. Some of it is going to go downstate. And if you're not from Illinois, downstate means everything in Illinois that's not Chicago.
Basically, Champaign-Urbana,
Yeah.
Springfield.
The rest doesn't exist.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's it. Which is good news if you live in Champaign-Urbana or Springfield.
Or any other amorphous city.
Yeah. Or, in particular, this is very impactful. So part of this is good. Parking minimums are going away around rail stations. And so if you're downstate and you live along the St. Clair extension of Metrolink, i.e. if you are a soldier, airport employee, or live in cornfields, parking minimums are going to be erased. So that's very good.
Finally, I can build all the housing necessary for East St. Louis's housing crisis in
Yes.
St. Clair. Because I know East St. Louis has like one of the worst housing crises in the country.
I mean, that place, truly nowhere to build housing.
It's so filled up, and like everyone wants to live there.
Yeah. No, this is going to address the biggest problems in Illinois politics.
Exactly.
Anyway, what are they actually spending this money on?
Your fare increases aren't going to happen. So if you saw anything about fare increases right before this happened, no more. CTA fares are staying the same
For a year.
for a year.
Maybe longer.
They should probably still increase, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. And so this is where we start to get into more of the reforms side of the structure of Chicago transit agencies, because now, for example, the fare box recovery ratio is going to be lowered from 50% to 25%, which means that agencies don't have to make as much of their money from fares, which is a good thing because it means they can provide good service rather than just focusing on, profitable, or at least the, most closest to profitability routes.
The other big change is probably that NETA is going to bring like a sort of change in how fares are going to work across the system. If anyone remembers before all this, it was very stratified, still is very stratified, because Metra just doesn't take the same fare payment. And hopefully it seems like this is going to open the door, and they want to do like a universal fare system, which will probably just be Ventura, I assume.
Hopefully.
And it will just work on all transit systems that NETA, covers. I do think it would be really cool if we could have Ventura work on like the other ones downstate. Like, if you go down to like Springfield or like Champaign-Urbana, you could use your Ventura card to tap on or tap off.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like Presto in Ontario, where it
Yeah.
covers the entire state. Yeah. I don't know that that's really included, but given that this is a statewide bill, I feel like it wouldn't strictly be out of the question. What else is there? Yeah, so I guess the only evidence of really there being better coordination right now is that the regional day pass, which has already sort of been a thing, is probably going to become a little more permanent, and they're actually going to figure out a good way that you can use transit across the entire Chicagoland region on one day pass, which is a good thing that should happen.
Yeah, I'm really hoping the big thing is we're going to get like full Ventura integration with Metra. Because like Toronto and SEPTA, you can just tap on and tap off with their respective cards, and you can't do that here in Chicago.
Yeah, and also having like built-in transfer functionality would be really useful with Metra.
I'm like the regional day pass as well needs to become a lot easier to get, because right now it's like you buy a Metra ticket and then you're like prompted at the end to be like, do you want to add on a CTA and Pace Pass? And it's like yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And so like hopefully it'll just be like one thing out of like a list of the other pass options, where it's just like buy this specifically. You don't have to worry about like the more complicated process.
Yeah, it's very unusual and difficult to find the day pass, and I think it's a lot of built-in assumptions probably that your trip is starting with Metra and then you'd be
Yeah.
using the CTA, which isn't necessarily true.
Some people might start from Pace.
Right.
The 5 people.
Yeah, they're weird, but we'll accommodate them, I guess.
Another thing to go back to with funding is that funding is a lot more than what we thought was going to be needed. So the gap used to be like I think $600 million, and then it went down to $200 million something in like the past month or so, because apparently they had more money. I don't know, but anyways, we're like doing billions in revenue. That's like more than half, I think, more than double, I think, like what they need to actually like cover up the deficit gap, which is kind of crazy because that's like, in addition to like, funding the service that we have now, that's room for like even more service. And a big thing that's going to happen is that CTA is going to improve a lot of their service in the like short term. So the big thing is going to be the Orange Line, 24-hour. I think that's pretty good.
That would be nice. That means that we finally have 24-hour service on like 5 radials around the city.
And to both our airports.
And yes, if anyone actually uses Midway.
People use Midway. There's a contingency of people who use Midway.
This is true. I am in a northern suburb, so I can't really speak. But
and I fly United.
There you go.
Other big things for CTA service that they said they were going to do is going to be 10-minute buses are going to get expanded, which is pretty good. As someone who's had to use one of the recent 10-minute buses, they're really nice. It's Belmont, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
And Belmont is like really good. Like buses are really frequent and reliable. So more 10-minute buses is a good thing.
Yeah.
And then they're going to try and get rail service to be around 8 minutes on all lines all day is what it sounded like.
That's pretty good.
That would be pretty hype because, like, I don't know if you know this, people, but the CTA is, doing the Toronto 10-minute bus network, but their L lines don't even run every 10 minutes on the weekends for the most part. So,
yeah, I mean, it gets as bad as Southside Green Line. You got service every 12 minutes or even every 15, which means 24 or half-hourly service on the branches.
Yeah, the branches are dire.
Not good. Yeah, no, that's definitely a lot of service improvements. The 10-minute program is kind of something that the CTA has already been rolling out.
Yeah, that's been before any of this was, like, really a thing.
But it's good that this will be solidified.
I mean, the 10-minute program is probably like one of the biggest things in recent time. I'm hoping like this will see like a good uptick in both rail and bus ridership because like finally it's like CTA buses are like going to be recognized as one part of the broader rail system and two as more frequent and usable things than they were before.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but I'm like I don't know. This is all me hope casting that we'll become like Toronto in the year 2030. It's gonna happen, guys. TTC Line 1, watch out, the Red Line. Chicago Red Line's going to supplant you.
Geographically, technically it'd be the Forest Park branch.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's really going to compare to the young subway.
Oh, man. Well, I've heard TTC's had issues with slow zones in recent years as well, so, like...
They're learning from us.
God, they know best practices on the Forest Park branch.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. And so for the most part, this bill, it's largely geared towards service. It's not as much encompassing infrastructure. Oh my God.
You got this.
It's not as much encompassing infrastructure. But, so that does mean that, for example, the Red Line extension, I don't think is really impacted by this in any way. That's largely been federally funded. And so, if big guy in White House wants to cut it.
Yeah, it's the only thing I could see it happening. But
which I think he has tried to pull some of the funding, but we'll see if that actually happens, yeah.
The court, I think, ruled against it. So.
Okay, same with Gateway probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that project, independently will be moving ahead, but it's good to know that when it opens, they will actually be able to run trains on it, because that was not certain.
There are other things as well. I'm trying to think. There was one, the ambassadors. So, the CTA police kind of has a bad history, as with any police force. Not through, like, direct incidents, but just, like, being bums who don't do anything. So they're now going to do the ambassadors program, which has been done, I think, like, BART and WMATA, I think, also started doing that.
In Seattle.
Yeah, where they're, like, non-violent people. They don't have any weapons whatsoever. And they're more there just to sort of, like, keep the peace and to sort of, like, issue, like, I think... citations or something.
As someone who's received a citation, yes.
Oh, really?
I forgot to tap my card one day. They have like, at least in Seattle, the way it works is they will have these fare scanners, and so if you have a card or the pass or whatever, you just tap it and they can confirm that you tapped in. So maybe they would do something similar in Chicago. I don't know how much fare evasion specifically is an issue, but definitely smoking, such an issue. I don't know why this is a thing in Chicago, but exclusively here. People smoke on like every train.
Yeah, I think that's the big one right there. Just being like, making sure people who are like being antisocial and doing annoying things, or just like, I don't know.
Not doing
Doing
that.
What else?
So I guess there is, let's see. Yeah, so that's the big part about that. There's a bullet in here. Again, shout out to this article about auditing powers. So there'd be performance reviews of the board. Probably
That's
good
good.
because historically the board has not been. So, yeah. Speaking of the board,
It's kind of complicated, folks. Not gonna lie.
yeah. Well, I'm just gonna show this image of the distribution of
Not here
seats.
on post.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna turn the laptop, but as you can see, it looks like the main difference is that with the NITA board, they're adding a bunch of like governor of Illinois appointed positions, so that's kind of more statewide control, which I don't really know what that would influence, honestly, but
Also, the big change is that nothing's going to be RTA. Okay, so hold on. The triangles here are all like RTA only. So there's basically going to be no more people staying here. Only 2 new board members from City of Chicago will still there.
yeah, so it becomes the city and the state
So
are running
basically,
the RTA.
all the people working at the CTA, PACE, and Metra are now going to also be on the NITA board instead of it just being RTA people, who are wholly separate from that. So hopefully that'll improve discourse amongst the agencies.
Yeah. I mean, it would seem like when you have more statewide control and more of this kind of overarching agency, which is theoretically what the RTA should have been, but ideally NITA will really step into that role and kind of be coordinating things in a way the RTA was not.
I find it really funny. There was a CTA guy who wrote an op-ed in the Tribune. He was like, "This is actually the wrong thing to do." And he was like, "This is going to cause chaos and pandemonium." And it's like, well, I think brother's scared about losing his job, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, the CTA in general doesn't really seem to like to cooperate, but so it goes. They're going to be forced to now.
What else is in this book? Oh, the parking reforms. Did we already mention that?
We mentioned it, but let's get into it more. So I'm just going to read this word for word. Prohibits mandated parking for new residential and commercial, non-hotel, uses within a half mile of a hub, meaning rail stations and bus intersections, or an eighth mile of a corridor, so a street segment with a frequent bus on it.
That's pretty cool. No more parking.
Yeah, so basically what that means is I don't know if it's huge swaths of the city of Chicago, but I think
It's
quite
most.
a lot of it, yeah. Now does not have parking minimums, as we mentioned before. I mean, this is good. This is the kind of, I think in the past, parking reform has often just been kind of these sweeping measures.
Citywide bans parking minimums.
Yeah, which is great, but in recent years, I think that's maybe become less politically palatable, and so
Yeah.
really focusing the parking reform in places that already have good transit, at least to start, probably makes sense to ensure that people have alternatives, and to also then concentrate development and make development easier in places that have good transit already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, parking is not something we should be building a lot near train stations, I think.
In fact, we probably should be removing it near train stations.
Shout out Skokie, Dempster. You're next.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming for you.
Watch out. And so this then brings us, I think, to the sort of mandated changes that each agency needs to be taking up. So beyond just expanding service, there are actually specific things in this bill that each agency needs to do. And they're kind of unusual, a little bit random, I would say, that this would be lumped into the bill, but it's cool to see. One of which is infrastructure improvements on the CTA, which is going to be the reopening of 2 formerly closed stations. That is the Englewood station at Racine on the Green Line. And this bill was very hastily written, and so the language doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it appears to be describing the central station at Columbus Park on the Forest Park branch.
Both of those are former stations. They already exist, basically. It really would not take much to reopen them.
No, yeah. I don't really know what the utility would be. I mean, it seems like there is a bus on Racine, I think, so that would feed the Green Line. That would
Also,
probably be
just
useful.
more service area to the area. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
And then especially for the central station on the Blue Line, there's actually a pretty big bus interchange just to the north of the freeway. It's not really as close to the existing station as we'd like, so maybe they could move that, but that would at least provide a rider base for a station that's otherwise kind of in the middle of nowhere.
They could also extend the Central Bus down to 54th and Cermak, I think, as part of that.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and I was shook that it doesn't already go there. It really should.
It's not far.
Yeah.
Metra's going to change a lot, potentially. I mean, a lot of this was already happening, like, before any of this came out, like the regional rail stuff. But it looks like they're going to do more studies. Ooh, we're going to potentially get... Oh, yeah, they're studying it to Kankakee as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so extension of Metro Electric down there. That would be cool. I think... Wait, okay, so Moni... Is that how you say that? I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, Moni, Illinois.
All right. Moni is very close to the end of the line at University
Yes.
Park. Kankakee is actually pretty far.
But it's kind of sizable.
Yeah, it is a big town, and honestly, if you really like look at the scale of this would be kind of comparable to a line to Kenosha or Harvard. So it's not out of the question.
And I think it's closer than Rockford, so, you know.
Yeah,
I think Worth.
definitely true. This
Plus-
will be priming it for an HSR station someday. high-speed
Extending
rail.
electric rail anywhere is a good thing, I'd say.
Yes, for sure. The other exciting thing is that, yeah, kind of building on Metra's transition from peak-only commuter rail to regional rail, there will be a trial regional rail schedule that must be implemented on the Rock Island line by 2027. That's the line down to Joliet, which is one of the largest cities in Illinois.
Speaking of which, I think that's also where people think the BMU flirts are going to go as well. I think.
Really? Well,
That's
'cause,
where most people were hypothesizing.
I mean, originally they were going to go on the Beverly branch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think they're also going to run them on that line, like the whole line?
Oh, no, just the Beverly branch.
Okay, yeah. This would be the full line, I believe.
Oh. Well, I
Um,
think it'll be both branches. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's probably true. So, and I believe the baseline, I mean, I don't know if they've really determined this, but probably that would mean at least half-hourly service all day to Joliet, which, isn't the greatest ever, but that's pretty good for a...
And for Joliet, that's probably what you need.
Yeah. I mean, if inner segments had better service, then that would be preferable.
I hope they get, like, at least 15 minutes on the Beverly branch.
That would be good, yeah. Because right now, I mean, there's just like all these metro branches that sort of, they run through urban areas, but they're so infrequent and awkward and slow that it doesn't really make sense to use them.
I wish this had a bit more, like, funding for, like, a true transformation. Like, see, like, what it would take to, like, upgrade Metra into, like, a true RER style system, like what people want it to be. Not like to be like, oh, we need to do this now, but to be like, what would it take to get there? Because I'm
Mhm.
sure like having that in the background of knowing like everything we need to do to get to like a true RER style system would be useful. But maybe that would be part of the study. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely studying, like, generally what will it take to improve service, I think, but not necessarily the kind of, like, integration and through running that we'd maybe like to see. I mean, that is a part of Metro's long-range planning, but it is a very small part, and it is, very distantly maybe running trains from, say, the electric district to O'Hare or something, and that's about it.
Crossrail Chicago.
Yeah, which would still be pretty impactful. Looking to PACE, there's no specific requirements for them. But again, kind of mentioning the tollway and the possibility to have express buses on the freeway, they're required to support NETA in developing that. And so there'd be, again, more cross-agency coordination, which of course we love to see.
Mm-hmm. PACE should hopefully get a big expansion because they had that one map they proposed a while back. Jarrett Walker's, redesigning their network right now, so hopefully we can fund the like transformational and visionary one that'll like expand it as well.
Yeah, of course, it's the classic trade-off of, do you want to have frequent service on not that many routes, or do you want a bunch of routes that all kind of suck? And then there was one map that was like, what if we had both? And so maybe that's what PACE could be, instead of being terrible.
PACE is terrible. Maybe it
Yes.
could not be terrible. Who knows?
One other thing, actually, or three other things. Let's see, we've got... I'm actually reading this for the first time, if I'm being honest.
This is really funny, actually.
Earmarks will require disbursement to support Champagne's airport and offset costs for a daily Springfield to Chicago commercial flight.
That's some fuckery right there.
Huh.
Who got that one in there?
I don't know. That is really random. I mean, yeah, cool. Next. They will be enabling a bunch of funding for the Downstate Transit Improvement Fund, which I think, so that's largely going to be local transit agencies, but there's also a lot of money that can go towards intercity rail capital projects between Chicago and downstate destinations. Chicago remains the center of Illinois.
Not really. It's actually in the Northeast, but don't worry about it.
Yeah. But what this could finally mean is rail to the Quad Cities, which, they built the whole station for that a really long time ago and have yet to actually run any trains there.
That's unfortunate.
Be good to finally get that up and running.
No.
Okay. And one other thing, which I think is really unexpected coming out of Illinois, which is not really a place that normally thinks about nature, but IDOT is establishing a Transit to Trails grant program for reaching outdoor recreational areas by transit. That's something that exists, at least on the West Coast, it's a pretty big thing. In Seattle, there are buses that will run, it's called Trailhead Direct, run straight to the different trailheads. And so that means that you can go hiking without a car, which is pretty sweet. But in Illinois, I feel like, there are natural areas. It's not really the highlight of why you would live here. But it'd be good to see a similar program implemented.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I remember once seeing a CTA bus driving down the street, and I'm pretty sure it was an advertisement for Starved Rock State Park, which is really cool if you've ever been. I've never been, but it looks cool. Anyway, the ad on the bus said, "Go places that the bus can't take you."
That's unfortunate.
And I was like, what a terrible campaign. So now, maybe the bus could take you there.
Go places the bus can take you.
Yes, we like this. This is all I do. And so, okay, there's things that didn't make the cut. Who cares, now you know what did make the cut. Yeah, I mean, I guess the one pretty funny one was that there was a proposal for a billionaire tax. And of course, billionaire Governor Pritzker immediately shut that one down. He was like, nope, that's a non-starter. Can't do it.
No billionaire tax, actually. Can't tax the billionaires.
No, they were not a fan of that. Yeah, again, no congestion pricing or anything like that. None of the sort of smaller, weird taxes that they were proposing. But I think that what we ended up with seems like a pretty rock-solid way to generate a lot of revenue for the system.
Like gas.
Oh, yeah. So that's pretty much the update for Chicagoland Transit right now. What else is on our agenda?
The Metra bar car.
Oh, yes. The Metra bar car.
It's a car. It's very cool inside. I think the trials are done now. We're a bit late to the subject. Are they going to run it on any more lines?
They might still be. Let's check.
Well, anyways, you should try and ride it if you still can. It's a cool experience. They give you things for free. You don't have to pay for them. You just got to fill out a survey. And then,
I guess officially it's the cafe car.
Oh.
But, bar car is more fun to say. So.
And then, you just get to sit there. You probably won't, though, because they're pretty full and there's not a lot of seats in there.
Yeah, okay. So they did end the trials about 3 days ago.
Never mind. You guys can't do it anymore.
On November 20th. But hopefully it'll be coming back. And we were theorizing about why this is a thing. It seems pretty likely that they're doing this because of the launch of Service to Rockford, which is going to be very long. So it'd be good to be able to pick up snacks. But, maybe they'll run them on other express trains and stuff.
Maybe on the Metra Electric to Kankakee.
Right, yeah. When that's up and running in 3 years.
For realsies.
5th time's the charm. So both the mic and the camera stopped recording, but we're back. What can you do? Anyway, yeah, Kankakee, who knows how far off that is. Anyway, what is coming soon in Q1 2026 is the South Shoreline's Monon Corridor extension. Which
Going to everyone's favorite place in Indiana.
Dire, yes. The situation.
It's getting kind of dire.
It will be dire. There's a joke in there somewhere. Yeah, so we'll be showing that off as soon as it opens.
But channel announcement, I won't be there to show it off. I'm going to Japan. I'm going to leave you guys behind because I want better trains. Because America's trains low-key suck a lot.
It's kind of valid.
Yeah, they suck.
No.
But Japan's trains are cool and awesome. But that means I might do something from Japan if I have time, if I remember. I'll probably do something. And therefore, you might expect a video about Japan, talking about Japan things. Probably trains, not anime.
We'll see about that. See when they get to you.
But we'll probably be splitting up for a while, so that means expect videos from either or of us. I should have a few videos coming out within the next month or so.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll tell you what those are, unless you want it to be a surprise, in which case stop watching.
We have 2 videos underway. We have one for VRE and Mark. So I'm talking about the future of commuter rail in the DMV, talking about what it should probably look like in the far future. I wish it wasn't the not so far future, but no. Everything takes ages there, like Jesus Christ. But that'll be hopefully a video coming out soon. And then the next one should hopefully be about the Acela and the Northeast Corridor electrification, where I get to ride the new Acela train, so suck it. Unless you've already run it, in which case, damn, lucky you. What about you?
Yeah. So yeah. Apologies for going MIA. It's honestly not been that long. I thought it had been longer. It's only been like a month, but we don't make videos during the school year because we're busy. So next video I'm gonna hopefully get out soon will be about the Federal Way Link extension, which is opening December 6th. I'm not getting home until December 12th. So, other YouTubers will beat me to the punch, but you know to expect our high-quality content.
Because it's always the highest of quality.
Yeah. I'm actually just curious. Do you know what Federal Way is? Like, if I say that, do you know what that means?
There's going to be Seattleites watching. They will know.
They will know. But, do you know, the Federal Way Link extension, what is it referring to? What is Federal Way?
Federal Way is a street in Washington, D.C. called Federal Way because of the federal government.
Really?
No. This is fuck. That's not real. That's
not
fake.
real. Okay. Because, is it a street?
No. There is no Federal Way.
Okay. Yeah, it's a town. I just think it's a really weird name for a town. Anyway, that's not working. There's also a video we've been working on for a very long time about Minneapolis. That's pretty much all been filmed. Just needs to get edited.
By yours truly.
Hopefully that'll happen soon. It probably won't.
Bummer.
But yeah, so that's 4 videos in the pipeline, maybe 5.
And then we have a couple videos coming from New York that should get here momentarily, I'd say so. Any day now, honestly.
Yeah, in true New York transit project fashion, they have been under construction for 4 years with approximately a rounding error of progress made.
Yeah, no. The concrete just finished drying on these. And that took 5 years, unfortunately.
Yeah, so expect content from our New York team soon, and pester them in the comments to tell them to actually make something.
We'll translate them over. We'll let them know.
Yeah.
Be mean to them. Say mean things. Don't be nice. Be mean.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Bums.
Mm-hmm. What else? I think that's pretty much it for our channel updates. We might have a video coming about the A-line extension.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not sure.
That's going to be 30 majillion miles long now.
Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous.
When they have inevitably opened Everett and Tacoma Link together without doing Ballard, will that be the longest light rail line in the world, or will it be the A-line?
I think the A-line right now, you can fact check me on this, is 60 or 70 miles long.
I think it's somewhere around there.
Okay, so right now it's 57.5 miles long. It could get longer if they extend it to Pomona and the
Claremont and Montclair, I think.
Whichever one. I don't know what any of them are. And the Ontario airport. I don't know if that's really ever going to happen, but I think Link with this new extension is going to be on the order of like 35 or 40 miles long. And so if they get it all the way to Tacoma, and if it makes it to Everett before the line gets split, it might end up beating this line and becoming the longest line in the world. So that would be cool.
So there you have it, folks. More fun stuff coming.
Yeah. Also, Mecklenburg County, which means Charlotte, passed a transit referendum. Not really a big deal. At one point, we were going to do a Charlotte expansion map video, so if you want to see that, we can do it. But
We haven't been to Charlotte, though, unfortunately.
that's true. We have to go to cities before we film them. So
Well, we've not done that before.
yeah, but those are bad.
Don't talk about Boston.
Yeah, so that might be it.
Bye.
Peace.